Welcome into the world of HTML. 3. Boot up your computer.
Windows sign in dialog.
2. Grab some comfort food. 1. And let's go. Hey guys, what's up? It's your girl Quinn here, and I'm back with another awesome video in the HTML series. In today's video, we will be discussing text shadow and fonts in CSS. But as usual, before we get into it, please remember to like the video if you love the content, subscribe if you're new, and to turn on that notification bell to be alerted whenever I post the next video. Also note that the instrumentals for this video have been provided by Inner Sanctum Entertainment Ltd. But without further ado, let's get right into it. I know you're excited to get into fonts, but let's first discuss text shadow. The text-shadow property is used to add shadow to text. Its values are arranged in this order: H-shadow, V-shadow, blur-radius, color. This is what each value represents. H-shadow is required, and it is the position of the horizontal shadow. Negative values are allowed for this value. V-shadow is required, and it is the position of the vertical shadow. Negative values are allowed for this value. Blur-radius is optional, and it specifies the radius of the blur. The default value is 0. Color is optional and is the color of the shadow. This can be set by using the various methods that CSS provides for setting color, such as an HSL value, an RGB code, a hex code, or a predefined color name. You can find out more about those by watching my CSS color video. None. This is the default value and specifies no shadow. Initial. This sets this property to its default value. Inherit. With this, it inherits this property from its parent element. So only the H-shadow and V-shadow values are mandatory for the text-shadow property. Here is a simple example where the horizontal shadow and the vertical shadow are set to 2 pixels.
H1 left brace, 2 space text dash shadow colon, 2px semi, no indent right brace.
Let's go through that by character.
T, E, X, T, dash, S, H, A, D, O, W, colon, space, 2, P, X, space, 2, P, X, semi.
Now here is a complete example with all the values.
H1 left brace, 2 space text dash shadow colon, 2px 5px red semi, no indent right brace.
So you see that when using all the values, it should come in the order H-shadow, V-shadow, blur radius, and color. Note that it is also possible to add more than one shadow to the text. To do this, add a comma-separated list of shadows. For example, here is a text-shadow with a red and blue neon glow.
H1 left brace, 2 space text dash shadow colon, 003px number FF0000, 005px number 0000FF semi, no indent right brace.
Let's go through that by character.
T, E, X, T, dash, S, H, A, D, O, W, colon, space, 0, space, 0, space, 3, P, X, space, number, F, F, 0, 0, 0, 0, comma, space, 0, space, 0, space, 5, P, X, space, number, 0, 0, 0, 0, F, F, semi.
Now, let's move on to fonts. Choosing the right font for your website is critical as it can make or break your website. If you choose the wrong font, maybe one that's too distracting or hard to read, your visitors might just leave your website. If you choose the right font that is attractive and easy to read, visitors will actually be interested in what your website has to offer. The right color and size for your font are also key. Let's start off with the font family. In CSS, there are 5 generic font families. These are serif fonts. These have a small stroke at the edges of each letter. They create a sense of formality and elegance. Some examples include Times New Roman, Georgia, and Garamond. Sans serif fonts. These have clean lines, which means that there are no small strokes attached. They create a modern and minimalistic look. Some examples are Arial, Verdana, and Helvetica. Note that on computer screens, sans serif fonts are considered easier to read than serif fonts. Monospace fonts. With this, all the letters have the same fixed width and they create a mechanical look. Some examples are Korea New, Lucida Console, and Monaco. Cursive fonts. These imitate human handwriting. Some examples are Brush Script MT and Lucida Handwriting. Fantasy fonts. These are decorative or playful fonts. Some examples are Copperplate and Papyrus. All of the different font names belong to one of these generic font families. In CSS, we use the font-family property to specify the font of a text. Note that if the font name is more than one word, it must be placed in quotation marks. For example,
quote times New Roman quote.
Let's go through that by character.
Quote, cap T, I, M, E, S, space, cap N, E, W, space, cap R, O, M, A, N, quote.
Web-safe fonts are fonts that are universally installed across all browsers and devices. However, there is always a chance that a font is not found or is not installed properly. Therefore, it is very important to always use fallback fonts. This means that you should add a list of similar backup fonts in the font-family property. If the first font does not work, then the browser will try the next one, and so on. This will ensure maximum compatibility between browsers or operating systems. Start with the font you want and end with a generic family. This will let the browser select a similar font in the generic family if no other font is available. Also note that the font names should be separated with a comma. For example,
star left brace, 2 space font dash family colon, quote times New Roman quote, times, serif semi, no indent right brace.
Let's go through that by character.
F, O, N, T, dash, F, A, M, I, L, Y, colon, space, quote, cap T, I, M, E, S, space, cap N, E, W, space, cap R, O, M, A, N, quote, comma, space, cap T, I, M, E, S, comma, space, S, E, R, I, F, semi.
The following list are the best web-safe fonts for HTML and CSS. From the sans serif family, Arial, Verdana, Tahoma, and Trebuchet MS. From the serif family we have Times New Roman, Georgia, and Garamond. From the monospace family, we have Korea New. From the cursive family, we have Brush Script MT. Please note that before you publish your website, if possible, try to check how your font looks across all browsers and devices.
Here are some commonly used font fallbacks, organized by the 5 generic font families.
Serif.
Quote times New Roman quote, times, serif. Georgia, serif. Garamond, serif.
Sans serif.
Arial, Helvetica, sans dash serif. Tahoma, Verdana, sans dash serif. Quote Trebuchet MS quote, Helvetica, sans dash serif. Geneva, Verdana, sans dash serif.
Monospace.
Quote Courier New quote, Courier, monospace.
Cursive.
Quote Brush Script MT quote, cursive.
Fantasy.
Copperplate, Papyrus, Fantasy.
Awesome. And if you want to be able to go through all of these by character, please note that the transcript for this video will be provided down below in the description. So you'll get the link to it where you can download it and go through all of them by character. Please note that you can also use Google Fonts. In the description, you will also find a link to the Google Fonts and how you can use them. Now, let's move on to font style. The font-style property is mostly used to specify italic text. This property has 3 values: normal, With this, the text is shown normally. Italic. With this, the text is shown in italics. Oblique. With this, the text seems as if it is leaning. Oblique is similar to italic, but it is less supported. Here is an example.
P left brace, 2 space font dash style colon, italic semi, no indent right brace.
Let's go through that by character.
F O N T dash S T Y L E colon space I T A L I C semi.
Now let's move on to font weight. The font-weight property sets how thin or thick the characters in text should be displayed. The possible values are normal. This is default and defines normal characters. Bold. This defines thick characters. Bolder. This defines thicker characters. Lighter. This defines lighter characters. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900.
1000.
These numbers define from thin to thick characters. 400 is the same as normal and 700 is the same as bold. Initial. This sets this property to its default value. Inherit. With this, it inherits this property from its parent element. Here is an example.
P left brace, 2 space font dash weight colon, 100 semi, no indent right brace.
Let's go through that by character.
F O N T dash W E I G H T colon space 100 semi.
Now let's move on to the font size. The font-size property is used to set the size of the text. When setting font size, always use the proper tags such as H1 to H6 for headings and P for paragraph. This is so that there will be a difference in size for each element. For example, you wouldn't want your heading level 1 and your paragraph element having the same size. The value for the font-size property can be set with both absolute and relative CSS units. You can remember that I spoke about these in my HTML Part 13 video where I covered CSS units. For an in-depth tutorial on using CSS units to set the font size, please refer to that video. You can find it easily on my website by using the search bar on the videos page, and the link will also be provided down below in the description. Note that if you do not specify the font size, the default size for normal text, like paragraphs, is 16 pixels. Here is a simple example of setting the font size with pixels.
H1 left brace, 2 space font dash size colon, 20 px semi, no indent right brace.
Now, let's move on to the shorthand property. To shorten the code, it is also possible to specify all the individual font properties in one property. The font property is a shorthand property for these values in this specific order: font-style, font-variant, font-weight, font-size, /line-height, and font-family. Here are some things to note. The font-size and font-family values are required. All the other values are optional and will be set to their default if they are not specified. Font-variant is a font property used if you want to put the text in small caps. To do this, you would set its value to small dash caps. Otherwise, the default value is normal. If using line-height, it must immediately follow font-size after a forward slash, just like this.
16 px/3.
Let's go through that by character.
16 px/3.
Note that the line height property sets the space between lines. If you want to learn more about the line-height property, you can check out my last video in which I taught text transformation. Here is an example.
P left brace, 2 space font colon, italic small dash caps bold 12 px/30 px Georgia, serif semi, no indent right brace.
Let's go through that by character.
F O N T colon space I T A L I C space S M A L L dash C A P S space B O L D space 1 2 P X slash 3 0 P X space cap G E O R G I A comma space S E R I F semi.
And that is it for CSS, text shadow, and fonts. Now that was pretty straightforward, so I really didn't need to do a demonstration for it. You guys can go ahead, try out these values, and go on your browser using your NVDA. Use your NVDA key plus your letter F to read the formatting on that text and see if whatever property or values you set on that text actually show up. So that is it for this video, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Please remember that the transcript for this video will be down below in the description, as well as the other links that I mentioned in this video as well. And the description can be found under the video title. Just keep down arrowing until you get down there. But that's it. Once again, thanks again for watching. Please remember to like the video if you love the content, subscribe if you're new, and to turn on that notification bell to be alerted whenever I post the next video. Remember also to share it up to your friends, right? Don't keep this information away from others. But once again, that is it. Remember that I love you, and I'll see you next time.